It's such a pleasure to get you our special guest today on the 100-Day Agenda, a series that we've been following here right on ET Now. And we've always been trying to get you the big guests, the big voices that really matter. Today on the show, a big corporate, YM Deosthalee, the Chairman and Managing Director of L&T Infratech, joins us to talk about his 100-day agenda and what would he want the new government that assumes office to do. Thanks very much for being with us on the show, sir. Do you really believe GST needs to be fast-tracked? A lot of your colleagues in India think it's going to be a game-changing move. And how hopeful are you that it will actually happen, given the political polarization on this one reform? We almost saw this happen in UPA too, and then, of course, they failed to clinch it.
GST is an extremely important legislation and it is pending since 2010. I think it's very important for political parties to come together and look at it from an economic perspective rather than from a political perspective. What has happened actually is that people have really not looked at the benefits of GST holistically from an economic point of view. GST clearly does three things. First, it reduces cascading impact of taxes. Secondly, it also reduces prices to the extent of 5 to 7%. The third important point is that it also improves the administration through online governance models. Last but not the least, I think there is a very telling good impact on inflation, because if the prices comes down, inflation is expected to soften, and as a result of which the demand for goods will also is expected to go up. So I think it will also have a very good impact on the manufacturing sector.
But Mr. Deosthalee, you are widely considered as an expert in the infrastructure space. Let's talk about some reforms for that. The CCI, the Cabinet Committee on Investment, was a well-intended move to clear the bottlenecks in the infrastructure space. Cleared, what, 6 lakh odd crores of projects. But what's gone wrong? No investment is broken ground. How do you think should the new government tackle something like the CCI?
See, many of the projects which have been cleared are in the infrastructure sector. We believe that some more than 6 lakhs crores worth of projects have been cleared. However, clearing project is one aspect. There are several other hurdles which also need to be looked at. Infrastructure projects are typically have long gestation period, and so if they are stuck for 2 years, the delay results in cost increases, and delay also sometimes makes the projects unviable. So viability of some of these projects need to be looked at afresh. The second point is that these cost overruns, which many of these projects have suffered because of delay, there has to be some mechanism of lenders supporting these cost increases, and in addition to that, there has to be fresh equity money which has to be brought in if you are talking of private sector projects. Now, what has happened in the last 2-3 years is that the balance sheet of many of these infrastructure companies are stretched, and they don't have capacity to put in additional equity. So I think it's essential for us to look at how the project's viability is going to be affected because of the delay, and take steps to correct or support some of these companies. Many of these companies today are suffering because not only because the projects have got delayed, they are also suffering because of huge amount of money which is stuck with government or public sector undertakings.
Fair enough. You're right. Huge amount of money has been stuck in. But one of the suggestions that has been mooted by a section of the industry, and some people who have actually come here outlining the 100-day agenda right here on ET Now, is that there should be a separate infrastructure ministry. Do you believe this makes sense, or will this just add to clutter?
Yes, this particular idea has been talked about. In the past also people have promoted this concept. But we need to really understand what this ministry is going to do. We have more than 12 ministries in the infrastructure sector. In addition to that, this sector involves coordination with various other bodies such as Planning Commission, Finance Ministry, and so on and so forth. In addition to that, you need state support. So, if the infrastructure ministry is going to take over the role of ensuring that all the clearances for the projects are obtained, and the coordination work is done upfront, facilitation is done upfront, and then the projects are tendered, it will help. But which means that that particular ministry needs tremendous amount of empowerment, and unless that is done, we will only increase bureaucracy in the system. And so I don't think we need any more delay for any of the infrastructure projects. So what we need is actually faster clearance, faster implementation, quick action by all the ministries, a cohesive approach, also a facilitative approach, proactive steps, but introducing one ministry without empowerment is not going to help much.
Let's talk about the power sector as well, which is critical to infrastructure. How do you think should the new government really get down to solving the whole power, the mess that the power sector is in, and also address the issue of fuel linkages?
I think what we need in power is a holistic approach, and there are several ministries involved here, and all of them need to sit together to make sure that this industry, which is suffering badly, although and today many of these power projects are becoming NPAs, so they will need respite from the financial sector as well, and this, therefore a real good quality holistic approach required for solving this problem which is there which is staring at us.
Mr. YM Deosthalee, Chairman of L&T Finance, thank you so much for taking the time out and joining in with that perspective on the 100-day agenda. Thank you, sir.